Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Jackson and Jackson podcast. Um, I am one of the hosts, Kung Fu CJ, also known as the Deacon Talks. Waiting on my guest to come on at 9 o'clock. We will have on L.A. Marzulli. He's calling. He's going to be on the panel all the way from California. If you don't know who he is on YouTube. He is on YouTube as L.A. Marzulli, easy to find, and he talks about all the supernatural, everything supernatural, UFOs, Bigfoot, the Nephilim, aliens, giants, all of that good stuff. He talks about it. Um, my uncle's supposed to be on. I don't know what's wrong with him. Basically, to give more details into L.A. Marzulli. Happy New Year to everybody. Even though this is my second show, Happy New Year to all those, 4 or 5 people that, watch me. um, I'm right now this year, we're trying to do something different. We're going to be interviewing a lot of guests, a lot of stuff, talking about um, profit. And we're going to, oh man, he jumped off screen. I was on. We're gonna bring on Professor Kevin here shortly.
My apologies. I just realized I was only wearing a t-shirt.
Okay, uh, it's like I said, it's the Jackson Jackson podcast, and our special guest who will be coming on again at 9 o'clock will be L.A. Marzulli. Professor Kevin, the floor is yours.
Okay. Father, I just pray that you will open up our eyes and ears this evening to teach us to begin to teach us what we don't know, to give us new perspective on the things that we do. And we just want only your words to come out of our mouths, things that you have blessed and anointed. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Now, can you give us some insight on as far as you talked about the Genesis?
Well, let me start in a different place, okay?
Okay.
Um, I first read The Late Great Planet Earth back in 1976, and which was written by Hal Lindsey. It was actually the bestseller of the 1970s, and it's still selling copies. God knows how many people got led to the Lord by reading that particular book. And I was a fan of Hal's. God took him home a few years ago, but this is what happened in 1988. Uh, I had just finished reading for probably the third or fourth time Hal Lindsey's book, The Liberation of Planet Earth. And a man that was a friend until he went home to be with the Lord, named Ben Gilmore, came and stayed at my house until, for the Washington for Jesus rally in 1988. And so, me being cocky a little bit, more than a little bit, and I had kind of memorized what Hal had written in The Liberation of Planet Earth. I wrote, I was talking and about the entire thing about the nature of God and things like that. And Ben says to me, prove it scripturally. And as I am going down everything that Hal that I just read and literally memorized, Ben took it apart bit by bit right in front of me over the next 3 days. Everything that I read, everything that I thought that I knew, he took apart biblically, scripturally.
Mm.
Now, I say that to say this. That was well. Let me go back a little bit. Okay. Then Ben sends me the full systematic theology that Winkie Pratney did on moral government, and it answered questions that I didn't even know that I had.
Okay.
So L.A. Marzulli has done basically the same thing. What L.A. Marzulli has done, I first went to my first prophecy conference in 2016, and that's where I discovered L.A. And what L.A. did for me was this: is that I remained a fan of Hal's, but I knew that he had limitations. Okay, and one of the things that God did for me is this: is that over the course of 20 something years, what God would show me is that where one person's theology ends, the next person in the move of God is where it began. And so what LA did was this is that he showed me things in prophecy that I had no conception of, that I hadn't even noticed in my study of scripture, and things in the area that Hal hadn't even begun talking about.
Okay.
And so what LA the issue that LA is in the area of the Nephilim. And with the Nephilim, let's see where we start with the Nephilim. We're going to go into what we call the seed war, and it starts in Genesis 3:15. Oops, I'm at the wrong page.
All right.
Hold it now. What is this? Oh, there it is. All right. So this is the beginning of the seed war. What has happened previous is that um, the woman was tempted by a snake, uh, rather sneaky creature, and he eats the fruit that God told Adam
Okay.
not to eat. And apparently, he told his wife, and she's having a conversation with this reptile, and she goes and eats, and then gives it to her husband who was with her. And why he's letting her have a conversation with a strange snake, I don't know, but he's standing there watching this thing. And the next thing you know is God, he eats the fruit, and then God shows up after they realize that they're naked and they begin to hide themselves from Him. And so God said to the snake, "Because you have done this, you are cursed more than all the wild or domestic animals. You will crawl on your belly. You will be the lowest of animals as long as you live. I will make you and the woman hostile toward each other." I am reading from the Names of God Bible, by the way.
Okay.
Okay. It says, "I will make your descendants, the descendants of the snake, uh, and her descendants hostile toward each other. He will crush your head, and you will bruise his heel." And he said to the
Right.
woman, "I will increase your pain and labor, and when you give children, yet you will long for he will rule over you." Okay, so let's. All right, I'm not going to go into that part of it, but we're just going to talk about what the seed war is. God basically said, "I will make enmity, or you will be hostile toward the seed of the woman." And so the snake, the reptile, and mankind will be hostile towards each other. Okay, and so that is the beginning of what we
Okay.
call what is now, in many cases, known as the seed war. It 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 follows again in Genesis chapter 6. It says, "And the number of people increased over all the earth, and the daughters were born to them. And the sons of Elohim saw that the daughters of other humans were beautiful, so they married any woman they chose. Then Yahweh said, My spirit will not struggle with humans forever, because they are flesh and blood, they will live only 120 years. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, as well as later. When the sons of Elohim slept with the daughters of other humans and had children by them, those children were famous long ago. And so here we say there are two other places where it says the sons of Elohim, the Bana Ha Elohim, which is the sons of God, which is what you'll see in the King James version, in other versions. I've just gotten kind of fond using the names of God Bible. um, but it says in in Job chapter 1, it talks about Job, and it says the sons of God came in to see the, with the came into heaven, and they were counted. Okay, and Satan was with them. There's another place in Job where God is yanking Job's chain because of all the stupid things that he had said. And Job says, and God says, where were you when all the sons of God sang for joy? And so within the context, the sons of God basically is the angelic realm. They were the ones that were asleep, that had come down and slept with human women and had taken wives for themselves. Now, I'm going to read something in this book by Ken Johnson called The Ancient Testaments of the Patriarchs. Okay. The patriarchs, we're talking about up and through, from Adam all the way through Noah, and I think maybe all the way through Abraham. And so here we are at a certain point. It's like when you talk about the testament, it's like reading your grandfather's will or reading your grandfather's. Okay, and so these are the testaments that were found among the Dead Sea Scrolls. Okay, so this is the testament of Lamech, who was Noah's father. Okay, it suddenly occurred to me. This is in column 2, in what is the testament of Lamech is found in 1Q20, which is commonly called the Genesis Apocryphon. It is fragmented but reproduced here. Enoch tells the same story in his testament, which is found in chapter 106 and 107 of the Ethiopic book of Enoch, which is reproduced here. The Dead Sea Scrolls is as follows. And so this is in column 2. So Lamech says, it suddenly occurred to me that the conception could be from watchers, or the seed from the holy ones, or Nephilim. My mind wavered concerning the baby. Then I, Lamech, was so upset, I came to Badenosh, my wife, and said to her, I swear by the Most High, the mighty Lord, the King of all ages, the one of the sons of heaven. So you must tell the whole truth to me, no matter. You have to truthfully recount to me, no lies. Will you give birth to a son that is unique? Then Badenosh, my wife, started crying and pleading with me. She said, my brother, my husband, you have to remember the time of our love, my pleasure, the heat of the moment, and my panting heart breath. I swear I have told you everything truthfully, but I didn't believe her. Then Badenosh, my wife, saw that my demeanor had changed to anger. She calmed down and said to me, my husband, my brother, my pleasure, I swear to you by the great Holy One, the King of heaven, that this baby is yours. Yours. You are the father. I have not, here we are. This is the Maury show, right? 4000 BC. This baby is yours. You know, you are the father. I have not slept with any stranger, watcher, nor son of heaven. Why do I see sadness in your eyes and doubt on your face when I tell you the truth? Then I, Lamech, ran to Methuselah, my father, and told him and asked him to ask his father Enoch what the dream actually means, because he knows the watchers well and God makes everything known to him. Methuselah, my father, understood the importance of the dream and went to Enoch, his father, in the land of Parvain, which is called the ends of the earth, to find out the truth. And he said to Enoch, his my father and my Lord, I have come to you. Do not be angry that I came here to seek you. Column 3. For in the days of Jared, my father, where the sons of heaven dwelt, human houses, and upon all over from the earth, from my land to that sea. He will place all of it as one fruit. He called his people, now go truthfully, without lies, reaches by way of a spring to. He is the one that will divide the entire earth, and with he made it sure Methuselah his son understood, and to him that is in every seed, the Lord will give him an everlasting name from her womb. Now they will cause a, they will be the cause of much evil for the ages. I pass judgment upon them, the name of the great Holy One, and an end from them to from the face of the earth. And he wrote of all of them on a scroll as remembrance, Methuselah my son, this child, for when I, Enoch, not from the sons of heaven, but from Lamech your son, remember he resembles because of his appearance. Your son Lamech was afraid. Go tell Lamech your son that the child is truly his, not from the sons of heaven. He will be exalted on the earth and will be a judge over every man, that he lifted his face and his eyes shone like the sun. This means that he is not the seed of a stranger. They will be caught and destroyed by their own impunity. They will act with much violence until they boil over and every path of violence. Make sure your son knows this mystery, what will occur in his days. Blessing the Lord of all, when Methuselah understood the interpretation and revealed it to Lamech his son, the mystery, when I, Lamech, understood, rejoiced in the Lord. So I read all of that to say this, that from the days of Jared, and LA will go into this in a little bit more detail. From the days of Jared, which I believe is Enoch's father, and I'm not going to go into the genealogies right now, there were 200 angels, which were called fallen angels, which were called the Watchers, that descended upon Mount Hermon, which is a part of, I think, Syria right now. And they descended upon Mount Hermon, and they began to take human women as their wives, and they began to have children with them. These children are what we call the Nephilim. Okay, they were, according to Genesis chapter 6, they were the mighty men of old, the men of renown. Okay, they also began to do genetic tampering with the animals. Okay, these beings that you see pictures of, like minotaurs and centaurs, and say maybe unicorns and a few other different animals in Greek and Roman mythology. These were probably actual. I'm not going to say humans, but actual beings that were created because of the genetic tampering of the Watchers and of the Nephilim. When God decided that he was going to destroy the world with water, he had two of every animal that was pure, and he said that Noah was perfect in his generations. Okay, which means that he did not have any foreign DNA from the Watchers within his system. He has three children, okay, who also had pure DNA. Noah had married one of his aunts. Um, she was actually 80 years older than he was. So he was 500 years old, okay? And she was 80 years old and bounces out three kids, okay? We talk about Shem, Japheth, and Ham, okay? But they also married some of their cousins. And so all of the people that were on Noah's Ark and all of the animals had pure DNA within their systems. And so God started the world off again pure. The, what LA, once he gets on, we'll talk about, is not only the stuff from Mount Hermon, but also that that after the flood of Noah, you literally there were actually other incursions. There, there was you can see another incursion. I guess it was in that another incursion that happened in, I believe it was Exodus chapter 18, where it says that the um that the king of Bashan had a bed, who was also a giant, had a bed that was 18 cubits. Okay, a cubit is roughly 18 inches. Okay, basically this guy had a spear that was basically the size of a telephone pole. When the children of Israel had gone into the promised land, they found giants there. So there was another incursion. There were probably multiple incursions, even though scripture doesn't say it, but it does say the results. And so this is where we are right now. Okay, when Jesus says it will be as in the days of Noah when he returns. Okay, in the days of Noah. So what was happening within the days of Noah? It wasn't just, it wasn't just the wickedness, even though God says the wickedness was upon the entire face of the earth. Okay, it was genetic tampering that was going on within the days of Noah. um, we're doing the same dumb stuff now. Scientists are now doing the same stuff. They've got literally, I've seen things where rabbits are glowing in the dark. You've got, tadpoles and other things that are glowing in the dark because they're mixing the DNA. They cloned, what was it, Dolly the sheep a few years ago. Okay, so man is doing genetic tampering right now. Okay, so right now we're living where Jesus said in Matthew 24, we're living within the days of Noah. Why
Now,
don't
now, reason right now, because I could have sworn I read where when it came down to the wholesome things in Genesis chapter 6, he told him to grab seven, and of the creepy things, two of each. I can't find it right now. Um,
well, uh, there were some pairs that, of course, they had to eat something on the ark. I mean, they were on the ark.
so I'm figuring they had seven chickens and a rooster.
Yeah, some of them were for food. Okay, some of them reproduce a little bit faster, as in the in the Bill Cosby thing. So I said they had to keep telling the rabbits only two, only two, only two. Okay. Um, but some were also for sacrifice. That while they were on the ark, and as soon as they came off the ark, which they have found, by the way, they have recently found the ark. There was actually an earthquake over there, and all of this mud that was hiding the ark has fallen off of it. They have actually found the ark. They've been in it, um, and so it's not on the top of Mount Ararat. It's actually towards the middle to the bottom of Mount Ararat in that mountain range over there. And
Okay.
so,
They
uh,
they also have they have the spot where it was sitting.
yes, yes. Well, all right. Next question. All right, you sent LA the link to the show, right? Or did I need to?
You need to.
Oh, shoot. Okay, my bad.
I don't have LA's.
Yes, you do.
How I what?
Because I've been CCing you on everything.
Okay, great. Did you send it?
I'm sending it right now.
Oh shoot.
My bad.
That's all right. We're about to lose some of our viewers mainly because they go to popping politics at 9 o'clock, and
Uh,
normally that's where I'm at 9 o'clock. That's why I do the show at 7:30.
yeah, I can tell when I'm not wanted. But so you've got literally at least two or three incursions. You had Goliath that was there, with a spear the size of a telephone pole. You that was still a part of the Canaanites. You and for anyone, this is one of the things that LA says is that whenever the Nephilim are there, it is always the same thing. It is the death penalty, straight up. There is no forgiveness. Okay,
Mm.
so when God told Joshua to wipe out everything in the promised land, wipe out men, women, children, the animals.
That's right.
Okay? If you don't understand the seed war, then what happens is that you think it's just a genocide. That is what people have called this, what the Jews did in Canaan when they were, what Joshua did in Canaan, the Hebrews. They weren't called
Right.
Jews at that point, but
Right.
what the Hebrews did in the Canaan, they just look at it as a genocide, and that God had to be incredibly wicked in order to be able to do something like that. And they don't really like that. They don't particularly like the God of the Old Testament at all, but the they like the nice fuzzy Jesus, everything they like that, but they don't like this old God, that the Old Testament God. But they don't realize that if the seed of the Nephilim continue to spread over the earth, then what happens is this, is that then it begins to then the seed of the woman is contaminated, and it is not a purely human, yet purely divine person, which is what Jesus is.
All right, real quick, let me get to some of these comments. Um, I want to thank John and the S Files. They getting ready to head over, and I understand. I'm trying to look for that. John says us invading Iraq after the tomb of Gilgamesh was found is very
Gilgamesh,
fishy.
okay?
Yeah, it's very fishy. Teams of soldiers took a lot out of the dig site. And let me see something. Uh, and then S Files was, I wonder how much history is buried under the ocean.
Well, scientists have now, within the last few years, they've actually found where the Israelites have crossed. They crossed from Egypt through the Red Sea. They have found wagon wheels and skeletons and chariots that have been buried underneath the ocean in that particular section.
Okay.
And so that's something that was just recently found, within like the last few years. So scuba divers actually found wagon wheels in that particular section, and they've taken pictures. But of course, they don't publish this in the mainstream media. You can see stuff like that in Biblical Archaeology Review, um,
Hmm.
where that particular magazine, uh,
Right.
which I've been getting off and on for a number of years, Biblical Archaeology Review. And so that was something that was just recently found. There's nothing that science has ever come up with that actually contradicts the Bible.
Right. That's right.
So that's something that uh, they what archaeology, they found the cisterns and whatnot, right? They found David's tunnel that he went and hid under in Jerusalem. They found a number of different things, and there are some folks that believe that we will actually, sometime in the very near future, find the Ark of the Covenant.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Now I have a sneaky suspicion because when Israel was made as a nation again, and some Jews did come from Ethiopia, and we have a sneaky suspicion that the Ethiopians may have the Ark of the Covenant, and that country is still 70% plus Christian. The Arabs have not been able to overthrow it, with Islam.
Oh shoot! It says L.A. Marzulli private. Um, I just sent it to him, but I didn't. Okay. I just sent it to him. Let me redo this all over again. Uh,
That's right, S Files. Every time they try to prove science tries to prove the Bible wrong, they usually prove it right. That's right. Uh oh. Hold on here.
Control C, inbox. Let's see if I can do a reply in V and send. It says, I do not have a link for the show. What's up? Okay, I just sent that to
Yeah, I
him.
can't.
Okay, so hopefully that'll get to
Okay,
him.
you just gave it to him.
Yeah, because I've got one. He
Okay.
responds to me from a different place, and so okay, so hopefully he'll be able to get in from that now.
He does do he is like get smart. He's in a secret location.
Hopefully he'll pop in. It says I do not have a link for the show, and that was at 8:56. So that was,
You resend it back to that
yeah,
link.
I resent it back to that particular link. Golly, doesn't this look up? Isn't this really unprofessional? Really screwed up.
Oh Lord, it's all right. Right now we are waiting on our guest to pop in here so I can give him a proper.
Is that him showing up?
No, it's pop and politics. I got them on notification. They're live right now.
Okay.
Um. Oh my goodness. Let's see if I can. Let me go here.
The worst thing you can do on a podcast or any radio broadcast is let there be silence and dead air. So uh, it is said that when Jesus was in Jerusalem, that they actually had the bones of the Nephilim that were on full display in the at the temple site. That's one of the things that Josephus wrote.
Wow.
Okay, and so
Mm.
when the so when Jesus was talking about the when Jesus was talking about in the days of Noah, they were actually able to look and see the bones of the dead Nephilim that were there. Um, the When David killed Goliath, they believe that the reason why it was called where it was called Golgotha was that was where Goliath's skull was buried, and so there what happened to all that stuff during the fall of Jerusalem, I have no idea.
Mm.
Okay. Um, there have been a number of different um, how can I say this? Number of different theories of what happened to it. Maybe the stuff was destroyed or burned. I know they burnt Jerusalem, they burnt the temple, and one of the things that Jesus prophesied, in Matthew 24, Jesus says, "I am." They came out and they said to him, uh, "You know, look at the temple here. Isn't this the greatest thing since white sliced bread?" And they said to him, and he looks back at them and says, "Well, not one stone will be left standing upon another." And so, less than 40 years later, um, the Roman 10th Legion is coming through, and uh, they they set the temple on fire, and the fire was so hot that the gold that was on the roof of the temple began to melt, and the Roman soldiers took the temple apart brick by brick in order to dig the gold out. The only
Wow.
thing that's left of it is the Wailing Wall.
Mm.
Come on, LA, show up. um, I think I've done enough filibustering at this point.
Man, I even sent it to the .net email.
LA Marzulli private. I thought that you were going to send it to him in the first place. Shoot.
Ah, that's why I sent it so early to give you a chance to send it.
I thought you were sending it direct. Okay, that's my fault. Um, what else? So the the Nephilim had roughly about 500 years between the time they came down from Mount Hermon and mated with human women until the flood. Okay, and so what happens is this: is that they had this amount of time to go ahead and begin playing around with the human genome. And so God says, okay, number one, I'm going to cut down the lifespan of man from 800 and 900 years to only 120. And then
Right.
he cuts it down again afterwards. In Psalm 90, verse 10, he says, what is the lifespan of a man? 70 years, if not by reason of strength, 80.
Right.
Okay, so that's roughly a generation. Israel became a nation again May 14th, 1948. So right now they are 1948. So right now they are 77 years old. And so the scripture says, not one generation shall pass till all these things take place. Bad links. Oh, okay. He says he sent me an email back that said bad link. You send it to him.
I did send it. I sent it to the .net link.
Try at LA Marzulli private.
Okay, hold on.
I CC'd you stuff and whatnot, right? Send it to LA Marzulli private.
Okay, yeah, because the only one I have is .net. LA at Lamar LA Marzulli.net. You're saying send it private?
Yeah, it's
What
LA.
did I find?
Okay,
Hello?
okay. LA Marzulli private at proton.me.
LA Marzulli.
Right, private
Um,
at
LA
proton.
Marzulli at private.
Yeah, at no
No,
LA Marzulli private at m. Okay, okay, you sent
private.
at proton.me.
How you spell it?
Okay, let me see if I can find yours.
ROTON? We just taking a little commercial break. LA Marzulli private at proton.me.
.me. Okay, so and I can't find the one that you sent me.
Work or not. It's been sent. again. Dang on, man.
The worst thing you can do is bore people.
I know, right? Good grief. Can you call him?
No, I don't have his phone number.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, I know. I know he's trying, that's for sure. What's happened is this is that I sent him an email and then he answered me from a different email address.
Oh, he must know the government after him. Ooh wee.
And then he sent me one that said help.
Wow. Ah. Let me check my email and make sure that went through.
Hold it. L.A. Marzulli Prime. Oh shoot. L.A. Golly.
Can you tell?
Okay, so let's.
What happened?
And I didn't realize. Okay, he's got. Okay, so let's try this.
Oh man.
Hoping it gets there. I didn't notice that he put dots in between this thing. This must be a private email. Hopefully it gets to him. They say the worst thing you can do on live radio is to bore people.
I know. Ugh.
And I know that by now, everybody's already tuned out, which I'm real sorry about. This is my bad.
Yeah, I sent it like over an hour before the show to make sure.
Yeah, and I thought that you were going to send it to him direct, and that's where we cross our signals. Okay, so we had giants that showed up after the flood. We had giants that showed up in.
Uh huh. Now, do you know anything about the giant at Kandahar? Kevin, are you frozen? Yep, you're frozen. Great. Great. He is frozen. That's not good. That is not good. We're going to have to reschedule this one. L.A. Marzulli is a very private. He's a very private guy, um, because of what he does. Because you really can't trust anybody these days. So yeah, you back in.
Forward.
Did you hear my question?
L dot A dot.
That's 17, 18 minutes lost. I don't want to reschedule this.
He's swimming. I told him try this, and he says, "Try what?"
Wow.
Find the link. And I just forwarded it to him again.
I don't know what I just did. Yeah, I know what I did. Hmm. Wait a minute. Let me see if he replied to my emails.
Can you see it? In try to forward it direct if you can.
Ah, he's saying he can't get on through Google Mail, Proton Mail Secure Email. Yeah, yeah. He just emailed me back. He said he can't. He is asking him to create a Google account in order to get on.
Really?
Yeah. All right, we're gonna have to reschedule. We are definitely gonna have to reschedule. Dang.
It wants me to create an account. It said, do you have Zoom or StreamYard? That's what he says to me.
Yeah. See, I don't have Streamyard. That's what it wants. Streamyard is $50 a month.
Okay. So this just got blown out of the water.
I might have
Darling.
to switch. Yeah,
So this just got blown out of the water this evening. Shoot.
don't. I just emailed them back asking if we could reschedule.
Okay. So we've just blown it up for this evening.
Pretty much. Well, some people learned a little something about the giants and the fallen angels, but
Yeah.
we definitely we definitely need to. I might have to switch to StreamYard because that's what everybody's using.
All right. Now I'm hearing
So
music on your side from you. Bumping, bumping, bumping,
music,
bumping, bumping. Yeah.
that's the fan.
No, that's not the fan.
Yeah, it's the fan. I don't have no music playing, just the fan. All right, ladies and gentlemen. One thing I can do is apologize. We're gonna try to reschedule.
Won't be till
We're gonna try.
sometime in February.
Yeah, we're gonna reschedule for February. Uh, Next Friday will be. I'll be
Next
live.
next Friday, L.A. Marzulli is doing his own conference. By the way, he is doing Deception 2026. If you go to his website, which is lamarzulli.net, or is it .com? I forget which one it is. You'll be able to find his Deception 2026 conference. It's a virtual conference. There will be speakers that are there that will actually be here afterwards. We will have Eric Gilbert here on February the 6th. We'll have Mondo Gonzalez here on January the 30th. And 2 weeks from now, we will actually have another friend of mine by the name of Ted Halley, who was full blown transgender, including uh, it, he lived as a woman for 12 years. That will be on January the 23rd. And so he will talk about his entire testimony as far as how he was groomed and how to prevent it with their kids, and the things that he went through as far as being full blown transgender. And that is Ted Halley, who will be on January the 23rd. My apologies for all the mix up this evening. I thought that everything would have been cool, and so we will. There will be certain things that we will have to work the bugs out of because we had Larry Tomzak on. We also had Bill Federer on. Didn't think that anything would be a problem with this, but I guess we do see that that there is something that we had a problem with, and so we have to make sure that before we have other guests on, that we're all on the same page. So again, my apologies, folks. That we actually promised something that we actually couldn't do. We should have verified it ahead of time.
All right. Um. Okay, so basically, we're gonna go ahead and sign off. Um, I got to go catch a flight.
All right.
So
Thanks, Carl. We tried. We'll try it again, hopefully
At
sometime in
least
February.
internationally, travel
Go
to
to London, Paris, Tokyo, Japan, go to New York, LA, Chi-Town.